Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Snap Take. I'm Glazer of the Snap Judgment Podcast, and we got something special for you. One of my favorite cards in the game is Thanos, but I have no claim to being Thanos' biggest fan in Marvel Snap. That honor belongs to Lamby, Wesley Seek over on Twitter, and a regular Twitch streamer, is the most successful Thanos player in the world. He's won multiple big tournaments with Thanos. He's constantly making Thanos builds. He hits Infinite with Thanos almost every season. And he has a new deck he's calling the Q Printer. If you love Thanos, this is the deck for you. I'm going to explain what it is. You can see it on the screen, right? But I'm going to explain what it is, how to play it, a couple of alt cards and potentially possible, and what you want to do, why each card is here, what's happening. But before we get there, I want you to like and sub. The reasons I want you to like and sub is, well, first of all, later on this evening, we are going to have a podcast go live with none other than KM Best. We're talking about KM Best, about how to be the best Marvel Snap player possible, to be the KM Best version of yourself. Our goal here is to help you become a better player. Reason number two to sub. We are home to the biggest Marvel Snap giveaway. Every season, we give away 5 season passes and 1 grand prize. That's going to be announced in Monday's video. 3, we're going to help you stay ahead of the meta. When the big channels release a deck, when Dexter, who's awesome, by the way, releases a deck, you're going to see it all over Ladder. When we talk about tech and I scour the net and create my own and work on this constantly, when we give you a deck, you're going to take advantage of it before it gets popular. The deck we published yesterday, the WW Los Doom Wave, has brought people to Infinite already. It's been out for 2 days, and it's already getting people to Infinite. Next, if you join us over on Discord, we're on the Snap Fan Discord, we have our own Snap Judgments portion. We'll help you get to Infinite. You get the kind of personalized help you won't get anywhere else. And lastly, as a thank you for all your great support, because we're doing great, we're blowing up over here at Snap Judgments, we're going to release a special Saturday video of the best Sarah deck I've played right now. We've got Sarah and Kitty in one deck, and that deck is so sweet. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about this Cube Printer Deluxe. Okay, first off, this is your standard Thanos, right? A lot of the top end, particularly these 3 cards, and some of the mid looks very similar to the classic Thanos that was created on KM Best Discord. Makes perfect sense, right? Doom started going in all these builds because when Space Dome was changed, the Thanos decks no longer had a real way to get into locked locations. That's the first key point. The next key point is the meta right now. One of the most common and popular decks is the stats.deck, which you can find in my decks in the description. You can find all my decks. I've got them labeled as Meta 1 and Meta 2. Those 2 decks are everywhere in the meta right now. They're so freaking common. It's completely crazy. Well, there's 2 ways to get rid of them in this deck. Way 1 is Magneto. Almost all of the key cards in that deck, outside of 2, you've got Black Bolt and you've got Stature. Basically, everything else important costs 4. Magneto moves them where you want them. Plan to lose that lane or just go so big they can do nothing. The other way to, well, there's several other ways. God, this deck is so good. The other way to handle that deck is turn 5 wave. If you can turn 5 wave, you can also throw something in Lockjaw at the same time. I strongly urge you to do that, whether it be a stone or a wasp. But turn 5 wave does a phenomenal job. They will be able to play 1 card. At that point, your Arrow or Doom potentially win the game. And finally, Leech often wins the game against those decks. You don't love dropping Leech on 5. You'd much rather him turn up out of a Lockjaw, but you still can. And when you do, that's a Darkhawk turned off. That's that Stature going back up to 5 cost, and so on and so forth. All of these are extremely powerful. We've got a little bit, before we go further into Killmonger, we've got a little bit of extra Lockjaw synergy here outside of the normal, right? If Doom pops out of Lockjaw, you know that you can drop an Odin into there. Dropping an Odin into that will give you more Doom bots, obviously, But it will also often, because you'll very often have a stone in there, give you draw. And when it does give you that draw, what you're looking at is very likely to be a bigger devil dino. You can also wave to Odin on top of, arrow to pull more stuff over. If you've got a wave on 4, you can Odin on 5, and then that's 2 turns of your opponent not being able to play extra cards. That's especially powerful right now against those kitty decks. Those kitty decks are kind of everywhere, right? Those kitty, I'm going to play everything on the last turn of the game decks, while wave, especially 2 turns of wave, says, no, you're not. But this is the Thanos deck, so you need more than one answer for things, right? Leech is obviously another answer. A hit monkey that's leeched is obviously terrible. Kitty becomes absolutely useless when leeched, etc., etc. The other answer is it's pretty easy to throw priority, and at that point, you've got Killmonger to answer things. Now, Lockjaw means several of these things are going to happen when you're not ready, and that's the other secret power of Odin. As long as you've thrown priority, a Killmonger that's already on the board, they can stop playing against priority once you've dropped that Killmonger, right? Once that Killmonger popped out of Lockjaw. Keep a space open. Last turn of the game, play Odin on once you've thrown priority, play Odin on that Killmonger and take out their whole freaking board. Everything else is fairly self-explanatory here. Devil Dino is a big body. America is consistency. And Thanos has to be in the deck because it's a Thanos deck. The other beautiful thing about this deck is, outside of Thanos being pull 5, but he is a big bad, so many of you have him because he's such a good investment, every other card in this deck is pull 3 or lower. So you should be able to afford this deck. You should be able to afford to play it, and it is a deck that is straight up printing cubes. Now, if you're not used to Thanos, you're going to struggle with this deck. Straight up. Jumping into high level play with Thanos, you're going to have to mess with it for a little while. Once you mess with it, once Thanos clicks, it's there. And if you need help getting Thanos to click, well, that's why we have our spot on the SnapFan Discord. Come ask us. We'll try and talk you through it. Maybe we'll even be able to hop on a call and get you through some games. All right. I like to give a bonus deck in these videos, and here we have the Dead Kitty Bounce. Dead Kitty Bounce is my version of a Kitty Pride death deck. I've been working on this a lot for the past couple days with Safety Blade. Safety Blade is one of my good friends in the game. Where he writes over at Marvel Snap Zone and is a streamer over on Twitch. I will include his information in the description, as always. Safety Blade's deck is awesome. Sorry, this isn't Safety Blade's deck. Safety Blade's contributions for this deck have been nothing but awesome. So basically, you've got 3 kill cards, right? No, you don't. You have 2. I'm an idiot. Excuse me. We don't actually want Falcon in this deck. We're not running as many 1-drops as we used to be. Let's cut that quickly. That should be Killmonger. It was Killmonger, and then I added Mysterio, and I messed up my curve. Excuse me. So, let's watch Falcon disappear. And watch Killmonger appear. We scroll down. We hit add. I love this deck creator on SnapFan. We are, by the way, the official podcast of SnapFan. All right. So here, we've got Kitty, who returns to hand, Hood, who returns to hand, Beast, which returns multiple cards to hand, and Moongirl, which doubles. All of these benefit Collector. Cool. We've got Yondu, Killmonger, and Carnage to kill cards. Ideally, we're using Yondu about twice with Beast, but even if not, we should be able to Carnage away 3 things. We should be able to Killmonger away about 2 or 3 things. And if we can just Yondu 1, we've got a 1 or 2 cost Beast death. That's a 1 or 2 12. Add in Moongirl, we are set. You're not always going to be able to play Death, but her upside is good enough, I think, to put her in the deck. In addition, once all this is cheap, once we've got Moongirl, once we have all this stuff going, we have our friend Hitmonkey. We've got our Hitmonkey Mysterio combos. We've got Kitty Pride to play over and over again. We've got all these different mini combos in the deck. I've been playing this. I had Killmonger in my version. Sorry that I managed to cut him as I was screwing around and trying to find space for things, but I have Killmonger in my version, and the deck is absolutely stellar. It's really fun. Is this the best version of Kitty? Absolutely not. Is this the coolest version of Kitty? I think there's an argument for it. I think it's important that we have fun tier decks. I know we're only supposed to care about ranking up, and that content creators always just like, just play the best deck. This is the meta deck. Well, one, a lot of you watching are infinite. We're getting later in the season, and if you're infinite, well, this is something cool to try out, to have fun with, to mess with. The other thing is sometimes you're going to hit a bad run with your meta deck, right? And if you're not hitting a bad run because of hardcore counters, you're just hitting a bad run, play something fun for a little while. Let the game make you smile. You start smiling, those endorphins start releasing, your brain starts firing. You're going to do better when you go back to that meta deck. Trust me on this. I'm a teacher. A lot of how things work is how you go into them looking. All right. That's it for today's episode. I hope you will come back tomorrow for our special Sarah deck look and check back later for KM Best. Make sure you sub and ring that notification bell so you don't miss either. And I'll see you soon.